Hello again, English 1 students. I know that a lot of you are finding Shakespeare maybe fun, but also hard to read. And one reason for that we've already talked about is the age of the language. Shakespeare is not Old English, but Shakespeare is not current English either, right? He is early modern English. This is 400-year-old English. But it's not just the vocabulary. Shakespeare is also hard to understand because he doesn't always say what he means. He says things with flourish, right? He says things poetically. Specifically, he uses metaphors. Here's one, not from Shakespeare. The child's act of kindness thawed his icy heart. If a heart is actually icy, the person who possesses that heart is dead, right? So this doesn't mean exactly what it says. It is comparing iciness to an emotional state. So it's not saying exactly what it means. It's using a metaphor. Shakespeare does that a lot, and the purpose of this video is to help you understand what a metaphor is, be able to recognize them, get a little bit better at deciphering them, and even be able to do them for yourself, so that A, you'll be ready for the assignment that comes with this video, which is for you to find a metaphor in Twelfth Night and do some things with it, but B, it will get you ready to use a metaphor as a poet in your poetry collection. That's the next project you're going to get, which we will talk about in our Zoom conference tomorrow. So, metaphors. A definition to start with, a really simple definition. A metaphor is an implied comparison. So it compares two things, but it doesn't say that it's comparing it. It's implied. It doesn't use comparative words like or as. Those are out. It just makes the comparison. So again, we're going to hopefully learn how to recognize these things, how to understand what they mean and what they add to the message. Why would you use them? How you can translate them, sort of rephrase them in more direct language, and interpret them creatively, even. Here's an example from Twelfth Night. This is Fabian talking to Sir Andrew. She did not show favor to the youth in your sight, only to exasperate you, to awake your dormouse valor, to put fire in your heart and brimstone in your liver. You should then have accosted her, and with some excellent jests, fire new from the mint, you should have banged the youth into dumbness. Now there are lots of metaphors going on in this speech. It's comparing the valor or courage of Sir Andrew to a mouse, a dormouse. It is comparing the courage that he needs to fire and brimstone in different organs that are associated with emotion. We don't associate liver with emotion anymore, but they did in the Renaissance, along with the heart. And then the one that I put in italics, because we're going to do more with it. With some excellent jests, fired in from the mint, you should have banged the youth into dumbness. So let's take a look at that metaphor. It's comparing jests or insults to weapons. Weapons that are new minted, right? So they're newly made. What does it mean? If you put this in non-metaphorical language, it's saying you should have attacked Cesario, that's the youth, with vicious, creative insults until he was unable to speak. So that banged him until he was dumb, can't talk. Why use this metaphor? Well, it's warlike, right? It's about weapons and hitting and stuff like that. So it's almost like they're rallying Sir Andrew for battle. And as you go on with the play, you'll see that that's exactly what they're doing. Could you use a different metaphor? Sure, you could. He could have said, you should have dipped the arrows of your wit in the poison of contempt and fired at his blabbing mouth. So now it's comparing the insults to arrows of wit and poison, the hatred to poison. That would be a different metaphor. All right, so what you're going to be doing in the assignment that you receive is finding a metaphor in the play. You're going to just look through what you have read of Twelfth Night and find a place where Shakespeare doesn't say exactly what he means. He says something as if he's talking about something else. He says it by way of comparing it to something else. You're going to make a document, write that metaphor in the document, and then you're going to translate that metaphor into regular English. Not just modern day English, but English that isn't poetic, doesn't make a comparison. It says exactly what it means. And then you're going to respond creatively, and I'm giving you two options. One is to draw an image of the metaphor, and you can do that on paper and then scan it. You can do it in an app, but turn it into a work of art. This is the metaphor that I'm finding in the play. This is what it looks like visually. Your second option is to write a new metaphor, like I did with the arrows and dipping in the poison of contempt. Write the same thing that you find in the play, same meaning, but with a different metaphor. All right? So I hope you'll let me know if you have questions. I hope this video has helped you to understand metaphors a little bit better and that you enjoy finding them and eventually using them. And I hope you're having a great week. God bless you.